Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. This weekend, you will know we are playing TS Galaxy. Give us 3 points. But hey, before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Today, I want to address 2 important topics. Yes, when you make these recordings, you forget what you are talking about. But one is Matlou, and let me jump into it. Okay. You know, they say sometimes you must not make comments based on emotions, And I understand. And let me give you guys my assessment of Matlou and on my expectations that I wanted for him. My expectations that I wanted for him at Chiefs. When Matlou I used to, because a lot of people maybe don't know, but I was checking Matlou before many people even knew Matlou existed, just because I used to follow a lot of I follow a lot of South African football players overseas, and I already knew about Matlou playing in Portugal. I knew about Shinga, who is Ubanu Shipani, all of these players. I already knew about them. Omadlozi, the guy was at Southampton. I knew about all these guys. And Matlou was actually scoring goals in Portugal, but he was playing in the lower divisions. And then he signed for Swallows, right? And then at Swallows, when I saw him, I was like, now let's see how he plays in the PSL. And he wasn't too bad, I won't lie. I'm not going to say he was the greatest player, but he wasn't bad. I felt like there's something good about him. Then Matlou joined Chiefs. I wasn't one of the people who was too sad about it, because the one thing I do know in life, the one thing I did factor in is that this boy played in Portugal. So I think maybe technically he's a bit better than most PSL players. And then I also took in the factor that in the PSL, you find there's a different kind of quality player. And I'm going to explain it this way. There are quality players who are obvious to the eye, right? Meaning that you can already see that's a star in a team and sharp. Then there are quality players who only become quality players when they step up to certain teams, right? And those players, when they get signed, you often don't see the benefit of them being signed. One of the players, I'll say in my case, was Ukatsande. When Katsande was signed from AS Cape Town, I didn't see the benefit of having him until Stuart Baxter worked with him, and he became one of the best assets we had in the team. And then Matlou came, and I was hoping that is the case, which is why I gave him a chance. Matlou has had injuries, but he has also had subpar performances. Maybe someone will say maybe he hasn't had time to gain momentum. Every time he felt like he was gaining momentum, he would get injured or something like that. Which is me explaining how I got to this point of Matlou. Then, in the past season under Nabi and preseason and stuff, I was watching Matlou, and then I was like, Matlou is a nice player, right? He's a nice player, but at this point, I haven't been sold if he's a Kaizer Chiefs player, and that's a very big difference. You can be a nice player for Sekhukhune. You can be a nice player for Siwelele, previously SuperSport United. You can be a nice player for those teams. But those nice players at Chiefs, they don't do well. And that was my problem now. And then my problem is that now Matlou is here and he's giving me nice performances, right? Nice performances. My problem with this is that I don't want a nice performance at Chiefs. I want a Chiefs performance. Meaning, if you are in the midfield, I want to feel your presence in the midfield. But with Matlou, yes, he did do the basic things. He did his completion was fine. He did intercept some passes. He did help challenge in the air. He did do the basics fine. But my problem was that Matlou is not Mteto. Mteto on the defensive side is like playing with another centre back. And Matlou is not that, which is why we saw a few players slip past Matlou in the game. And when we know Mteto is there, Mteto would be a workhorse, which is what we were not seeing too much. We didn't see our midfield really working a lot. We saw our midfield confident, but not really grinding. And that's what I'm going to say about Matlou. I have nothing against Matlou, but if Thabo Cele was available, I would have played Thabo Cele. But I think Thabo Cele might have an injury or something because he hasn't been in the squad for a couple of games. But yeah, that's my thing. And I feel like I would have also played Undlovu. Me personally, I would have played Undlovu because Undlovu, I would play Undlovu, but I do get... But at the same time, Ndlovu is a question mark. We don't know what Ndlovu is at Kaizer Chiefs. That is the biggest thing. We know we can say I would have played Ndlovu. But at this point, we don't know what Ndlovu is going to offer us. Because, for example, in previous games, he's been an 8. In previous games, they tried to make him a 6. So we don't know where he fits yet. And we haven't seen enough of him. They don't even put him on as a substitution match for us to really know. So my verdict on Matlou is that I'm going to leave it to the technical team. I'll leave it to the technical team. I may not be comfortable with the decision to play him because I feel we gave Goodman Musele too much. Goodman Musele looked like prime Andy Lejal playing against us, and I don't like that. I don't like that we didn't have control of the midfield, and that stems from Matlou. Because why do I say it stems from Matlou? Because Lebohang Mabo was more playing as an 8, because he would be running up front, trying to make runs behind, etc. So it just meant that the ball was passing on Matlou. Matlou wasn't dictating the game as the DM. And the reason I'm saying this is because the benefit of not having Umteto on the game is that the next player who's going to come, you're hoping is a better ball player, better controller of possession, etc. And a lot of people feel he did do that. But at this point, I have to accept that we'll agree to disagree. In terms of the cheaper game, our guys our technical team have made a lot of blunders in terms of subs. I always say our technical team has sacrificial lambs. Their sacrificial lambs are the players that they're always going to substitute. Whether you like it or not like it, whether the player is having a good performance on the day, they will substitute that player. 1 is Velibai, 2 is Vilagazi, 3 is Flavio or Igodaro. One of those guys, they're going to get substituted. We already know. And if Sirino is there, even possibly Mdu Shabalala. Like, Mdu is often a like-for-like replacement for Usirin. Even if the guy is playing well, yeah. But I saw an interesting thing in the game, and I wish they can exploit it. This is my proposition. Why don't we actually try Umayo at right wing in Mfundo Vilagazi's position and then leave Flavio in the game? Because Mayo actually played more with Igodaro than he did Flavio. Leave Flavio in the game and see if there's a partnership that can work out there. Because they are both runners, but Mayo is very technical. Mayo's very technical on the ball. And then have Umdu Shabalala. Another person would propose this. Another person would say, leave Vilagazi on the left. Leave Vilagazi on the right, Leave Velibai on the left. But maybe start Flavio as a striker and Mayo as a 10. Where you have basically Umayo, who is comfortable on the ball. He can receive the ball as a 10 and spray the ball out wide, etc. But at the same time, if let's say, for example, Mfundo Vilagazi has the ball on the right and wants to cross the ball, you already know that Mayo in that move will become the second striker. He can go into the box and they can now contest the header. And we know Velibai loves crossing the ball. So if Velibai gets the ball and is crossing, and we know in the box we'll find Flavio and Mayo in that box, then would that not be a good solution? I am just throwing things out here. But we don't. The problem is that Mayo hasn't played enough with the other Chiefs players for us to know if all of these situations are going to work. But he did have a decent showing as a sub. We just felt he didn't shoot enough, but it's because he was playing out wide. But I felt like he owed us some shots at goal because he's very technically sound in terms of shooting. But the other thing, Buffett, we love Kaizer Chiefs. We love all the things that Kaizer Chiefs is doing. The other thing I want to talk about is Khalil's comment. Khalil basically said, we should not expect, they never told us to expect trophies, so we must not expect trophies. Number one, I don't want small team mentality at Chiefs. Don't bring that small team mentality at Chiefs. The one thing Nabi did that I used to like about Nabi never took away the identity of Chiefs. He said Chiefs is a big team. We need to work for Chiefs being a big team. When a cup was there to be taken, he never said, don't expect a cup. He said, we're going to fight to win the cup. If it's there, we'll fight to win it. We're not saying we're going to win it, but because we're a big team, we'll fight to win it. But we also need everyone else to support us as we fight to win it. Like, even during bad times, we need the supporters to be there. That is what I wanted from Khalil. But Khalil took small team mentality. Another thing that I'm seeing is that there's floating information out there that Chiefs want to sign Dion. I think Dion plays for, if I'm not mistaken, Arrows, because I know he's been moving a lot between teams. But if I'm not mistaken, Arrows. And he has 7 goals so far, and Chiefs wants to buy him because they want to, as goal scorer, basically, to assist Ighodaro and Flavio. And I don't know how old that guy is because, there's too much weird information going around about his age, so I don't know how old he is. But my question is Dion deemed a South African in terms of, has he been in South Africa for long enough that he now has the right to be a South African citizen? Because if he isn't, then he's a foreigner. Then what are we going to do with a foreign sport? So I don't know if we have a foreign sport, because if I'm not mistaken, we have Lilepo, we have Miguel, we have Ighodaro. Ighodaro is technically, he technically should be able to apply for South African citizenship. We have Flavio Silva, and I feel like I'm missing someone else, unless I'm not. Oh, and then we have Ntwari. Unless, because of Ntwari's injury, they are planning to deregister Ntwari, because Ntwari's, with his surgery that he had, he's probably going to be out for the season. And if that's the case, then you do have an open spot. But let's see, Amakhosi.